everyone, from today onwards we are starting with our new subject, that is Strategic Cost Management, paper number 16 of your CMA final. Now this subject is interestingly an advanced version of 3 different subjects of your CMA Inter, that is Cost Accounting, Management Accounting and OMSM. Plus with that, there are a lot of new topics in this subject. Now today I'm here to make you understand that how we are going to approach this subject, and with that we are also going to start a new topic today. But before doing all of these, let me first introduce myself to you. Right. So, hi everyone. I'm CMA Palak Sharma. I qualified CMA with an All India rank in CMA finals, and I'm teaching from around 6 to 7 years, specifically Cost Accounting, Management Accounting, OMSN, and from the previous attempt itself, I started teaching Strategic Cost Management subject also. Mostly students know me to make their concepts easier. And I can guarantee you that if you are following whatever things I tell you in a consistent and a disciplined manner, you can very easily score exemption or even more than exemption in this subject. Now let's understand that how we are going to approach this subject. First of all, the classes are going to be recorded, and these recordings are recent only. We completed it in May end. They are completely relevant for your December 26, June 27 and December 27 attempt, specifically for old syllabus, that is your 2022 syllabus, because the new syllabus has not came yet, right? So the total hours of content, if I talk about, this is approximately 200 hours. And let me tell you one thing, this much is necessary for your subject because there are total 15 chapters. Okay? Each and every chapter has a lot of different new topics for all of you. And then there are a lot of questions which we are going to practice in the class. So this must is so necessary for all of you to do this particular subject. And to complete this 200 hours, we have subdivided it into 75 to 80 sessions for all of you. Now, first let's talk about how is your paper pattern for your SCM subject. So in SCM, your paper is subdivided into 2 different parts. First of all, the paper is going to be asked to you of around 128 marks. Okay, out of which you need to answer for 100 marks. First question will be your MCQs, and this MCQ is of 30 marks, which is compulsory for all of you to answer, and total 15 MCQs will be there. Each MCQ is going to be of 2 marks, exactly same as it was there in your CMA Inter also. There is no as such negative marking, there is no as such reason required for MCQ. You just have to select the correct option, and that is how you're going to get this 30 marks here. Okay? And if you want to score exemption or more than that, it is very important for you to cover this MCQs. How we are going to cover this MCQs, I'll definitely tell you about that. First, let's talk about the next part of your questions, which is from question number 2 to question number 8. Total 7 questions are there, and this 7 questions, each question will be there of 14 marks. 7 questions of 14 marks, that means total 98 marks. But out of this 7 questions, you need to answer only 5 questions. Each question is going to be there for 14 marks. But it is not necessary that institute is going to ask you a full-fledged question of 14 marks only. Answer is no. They can subdivide this 14 marks into 2 different parts of 7 marks each. Most of the questions out of this 2 to 8, you will find it out that the questions are subdivided into 7 part each. There will be 1 or 2 question only, which is a full-fledged 14 marks question. Okay? Now, you need to understand that even if the question is subdivided into 2 parts, it is not necessary that both the parts are going to be from 1 chapter only. They can be from different chapters. Hence, it is very important for you to cover everything properly. So the most important part of your 100 marks paper is going to be this long answer questions only. That how you are going to prepare this long answer questions. So for covering this long answer question, we are going to cover from each and every study material which institute has provided to you, whether it be study material of institute, previous attempt questions, model question papers or mock test papers, your workbook, extra question, whatever I feel is necessary for you, we are also going to cover that here. Plus with that, if for your attempt, institute releases any new mock test papers or model question paper, we are also going to cover that in your class app itself. So each and every study material of institute is covered. Whatever extra question you need is also covered here. So it is like a full-fledged coverage for all of your long answer questions. And let me tell you, most of the questions, there will be homeworks for all of you, but most of the questions will be solved in class itself. We are going to solve it together. And homeworks also we are going to discuss in the next class. So it's like a full-fledged coverage where homeworks are also discussed, where all the questions which are there in your question bank will also be discussed here. Okay? Now, so this was how we are going to approach our long answer questions. Okay? Now let's talk about the MCQs, that 30 marks which is important for us to get. And for that, I have decided to do two different things. The first one is, in your class app itself, after completion of every chapter, we have provided you a MCQ section. In that section, you can just play and cover all your MCQs. Okay? Ticking mark the correct options. That is what you need to do. And after ticking mark, you will get the answers also, that which one was your correct answer and which all answers you get wrong. Okay? Whatever answers you get wrong, you can improve that. And if you feel like you're not able to understand, you can definitely reach out to me. I'll definitely help you in understanding those MCQs. Okay? Plus with that, we are also going to have a YouTube live session where we will cover all your previous attempt MCQs in a chapter wise manner, and this is going to be held in November for your December 26 attempt. For June and further attempts, we can hold it 1 month before exams. Hana? Now let's talk about the revisions. So we have already covered our long answer questions, we have covered our MCQs. Now we have to revise before exams, right? So for revisions also, we have two different things. The first one is going to be a marathon session, which is going to be held in YouTube, and I'll tell you that has already been uploaded in YouTube, and that is around 10 to 12 hours only. So this marathon session you should watch 1 month before your exams. Plus with that, if you feel like 1 day before exam you're not able to revise by yourself, you can refer this marathon also, because this will help you to revise each and every concept. We will also solve some of the important questions here. So this will help you to revise 1 day before exam. But if you are referring this marathon 1 day before exam, I'll definitely suggest you to watch it at least 2 to 3 times before that, so that it doesn't feel new to you when you are watching it 1 day before exam. Okay? Now with that, we have a new feature for all of you, and that is one-shot revisions. So after completion of a particular chapter, or let's say like your chapter number 3 is huge, right? So after completion of every topic in your chapter number 3, we are taking one-shot revisions, where in one class itself we are going to revise each and everything. We are also going to solve some extra interesting types of questions. Okay? So this session is going to be live, which we are holding now in our class app itself. Plus with that, we are also going to provide you the backup of the same in the class app itself. You can see a one-shot section when you enroll for the class. Okay? Now this one-shot session, what you need to do is, after completion of, let's say, chapter number 1, you can watch this one-shot revision. After completion of this one-shot revision itself, you can give a mock test paper. So we also have a mock test paper section for all of you, because you have completed everything, you have revised everything. Now you need to test yourself whether you are able to do the things yourself or not. And for that, we have this mock test sessions. Okay? So we have chapter-wise mock test for all of you. This is going to be a self-evaluated paper. So let's say after you completed your chapter number 1, you're going to watch one-shot revision. After watching the one-shot revision itself, you're going to do that chapter-wise mock test and check whether you're able to do the things properly or not. Okay? So a full-fledged completion. And after completion of everything, let's say 2 months or 3 months before you have completed everything of yours, what you can do is, now you are feeling that you need to revise everything. You are not able to remember the things. In that case, you can refer this one-shot revision for your detailed revisions. You can refer this marathon session for your fast revisions. Okay? So this is how you're going to approach everything. Now this chapter wise mock test for up to 3 chapters I have already uploaded in the class app. For further chapters, whenever this one shot revision happens, at that time itself you'll get this mock test papers also. Okay? After that, we have this 2 full-fledged mock test paper, which is going to be a 100 marks paper, as institute ask you 100 marks paper. In the exact same manner, we are going to prepare this for all of you. Now this papers, you need not check yourself. This will be checked, and the feedback, I am the one who is going to provide you the feedback that where all you can improve yourself in the further attempts, okay, in the further mock test papers. So we have total 2 full mock test papers. The first one is going to held on 8th November. I'm talking about December 26th, that because that is something recent, right? So 8th November we are going to take the first mock test, and 15th November we are going to take the second mock test. Whenever you write the mock test, within 24 to 48 hours you will get the checked copies and also the feedback from my side. By taking that feedback, you can improve yourself and give the next mock test. Here also we will provide you the feedback and the checked copies to you, so that you can make the improvements in your final attempt of your SCM ka paper when you're going to give that in exams, right? So this is how we have approached everything. Now to cover each of these things, mostly your long answer questions and your concepts and your theories, we have made 3 different books for all of you. Now the first one is concept book. Now let me just show you your books so that you can understand that how the books have been made for all of you. So this is our concept book. Okay, this is how your concept book looks like. Now in this concept book we are going to cover each and every theory topic in a very detailed and a beautifully made manner. This book has been made by me only. I have given a lot of time to make this book for all of you. Plus with that, all the practical part, specifically your section number B, which is quantitative techniques, I have provided you each and every concept also, which has been written here, that how you're going to approach and what is the step-by-step process in which you're going to solve the questions. Okay, so this is how your book looks like, and we have covered each and every chapter in detail. The theory, the practical, each and everything has been covered in here, and that is your concept book. Then we have this question bank for all of you, which covers each and every long answer question which I discussed here, right? So each and every long answer question has been covered here. A huge book, because a lot of questions are there for your SCM ka subject, right? So this book covers each and every question for all of you. Okay, so this is how your SCM ka question bank looks like. Here we have the theory questions also, we have practical questions also. Now after that, what we do is, in class itself we prepare a summary notebook. So we are going to write that summary book in class itself. But if you are not able to write, like let's say you are doing a job, your attempt is near, you will not be able to write everything, and in that time I'm providing you this as reference only. Remember that it is always preferable to write this summary notebook by yourself, because this summary book I'm making for you so that you can refer this one day before exam. This is such a book that even whenever I refer, I get the topics, understanding of the topic at that time itself. That is the essence of this summary book. So it's very important for you to prepare that by your hand itself, so that you can keep the things in your mind. Okay? It's always suggested to prepare this whole summary book by yourself. Okay? But if you are not able to prepare, then only I'll suggest you that you can leave the theory part. But for the practical part, whatever things we are writing in summary book, that is very important for you to write. Okay? Now let me just show you. This is completely handwritten notes which I write in class, which we together are going to write in the class. Okay? So this is how this looks like. I hope you are able to see. Hai na? Chalo. So these are all the 3 books which you are going to get in a hard copy format whenever you enroll for the classes. Okay? Plus with that, in the class we have to prepare the notes, because this is mostly a practical subject. So you have to write a lot. And for that we are preparing this class notes where we are going to solve each and every practical question. Now I'm telling you one thing. This I'm not going to provide you in hard copy. This is only provided to you in a soft copy format just for your reference. But this though you should definitely prepare, even if ma'am we are doing a job, ma'am we are in train, doesn't matter. If you are not preparing this here with me in the class for solving your practical question, then though you can't expect to score exemption or more than that in this subject, because this is a practical subject. It requires solving the question. If you are not solving it, then how you will be able to solve it in the class, in the exams specifically, right? So make sure you're making this with your hands for sure. And then this summary notes also we are going to make in the class itself. Now you have to have pen and highlighter, because if you're referring your notes, you're making your notes, they should look good. Then only you will be able to refer them again and again. And that is what we need to do for revising everything, right? So you need to use 3 different pens, red, black and blue, and a yellow highlighter to highlight the important things. And then if you want to ask doubts, you have 2 different ways to ask it. You can ask the doubts in app, or else you'll also get a WhatsApp number of mine, which you will get after enrollment. You can ask the doubt there also. Okay? Your doubts will mostly be answered in 24 to 48 hours. Now let's say that your doubt, when I explain to you, you're not able to understand with the message or the voice audio which I'm providing to you. Then we can also connect in a Google Meet one-on-one session where I'll make sure that your doubt is properly cleared. Okay? So this is how we are going to approach the subject. Now the paper pattern, I already told you how this paper pattern is going to be. Now let's talk about what all chapters are there in your SCM subject. So what I have done is I have written for around 7 attempts of yours for 2022 syllabus. And I have analyzed that from where the institute is asking most of the questions. Okay? So let me first make you understand that what all chapters are there. Total, we have 2 different sections, section A and section B. Section A covers mostly cost related chapters, cost and management accounting related chapters. Chapter number 1 and 2 is completely theory. Chapter number 2 has some practical parts. But most of the part of this chapter is going to be theory. Now from these two chapters, institute can ask you one question only, and that is going to be of 7 marks. They can ask you from any of these chapter. It can be from practical part of chapter 2 or theory part of chapter 1 or 2, doesn't matter. It is going to be of only one sub part of total 14 marks question, and that is of 7 marks. Okay? Then there is a third chapter. This is huge. This is going to be a very interesting chapter for all of you, and this covers a lot of topics. Total 28 marks can be asked from this particular chapter. 114 marks full-fledged question and 7 marks sub part from different topics of this chapter. Okay? Then we have this activity-based management and just-in-time topic. Here we have activity-based costing, which you see in management accounting also, and then there are a lot of different topics also here, and in total a 7 marks long answer question can come from this chapter. Then we have chapter number 5, that is evaluating performance, which is nothing but your standard costing and variance analysis wala topic. And this institute asks for a 14 marks question in exam, which can be subdivided into two different parts, 5A, 5B. Like they are asking you material related variances in the first part, and in the second part they are asking you a sales related variance. Or else if they want, they can ask you a full-fledged 14 marks question where they are asking you a reconciliation related question, let's say. So that is how they are going to ask you from here. So I can tell you that from section A, the most important chapters are chapter number 3 and chapter number 5. Now let's move forward to section B, that is quantitative techniques in decision making. Here mostly OMSM operations management related things you will find here, like linear programming, transportation, assignment, simulation, network analysis, and your business forecasting models. All of these are connected to your CMA Inter OM wala part. But the thing is, all of these chapters will have a lot of advanced version as compared to what you have seen in CMA Inter, and that is what makes it interesting here. Okay? It's not going to be exactly same as what you have seen in CMA Inter. There are going to be a lot of new things here. Okay? Plus with that, we have a lot of new topics, that is game theory, business application of maxima minima, and introduction to tools of data analytics. This learning curve wala topic is connected to your management accounting in CMA Inter. Okay? So this is how your syllabus is all about. We have a proper analysis of the same, but you'll not be able to understand this now. What I'll suggest you is, if you are enrolling for the classes, you should follow the schedule which I am following in the class itself. What I do is, in class I'm going to start with chapter number 1, 2, and then we will cover this chapter number 3, and after that we will cover all these part of chapter section B, and then we will move forward to chapter number 4 and 5. That is how I have designed your schedule in the class app, and that is what you should follow, because you have enough time for completing all of these in a proper sequence which I suggested. Okay? This proper paper analysis is applicable only when you are revising the things, and then only this paper analysis is applicable. So this I'll share with you when you are revising the things. As of now, just focus and cover the things in the way which I have completed in the class. Now to make you understand that how I teach, what I have done is I am going to teach you this assignment topic so that you can understand that how I'm teaching the practical part. Why I'm doing this is, this mostly is a theory topic, and if you want to see how I'm teaching theory topic, there is a demo video which has already been uploaded for the theory topics if you want to refer. And for practical part, to show how I am teaching you practical part, now I'm showing you this assignment topic. From now onwards, I'm going to start this assignment topic. You can refer that and see whether you're able to understand the things from me or not. Okay? Chalo. So let's start with assignment, chapter number 8 of your CMA final SCM subject. Now let's move forward to our today's chapter, that is assignment. What does this assignment means? Have you got some assignment in your school time or in your colleges? Think about it. In schools or in colleges, teachers give us some assignment. Now what does that assignment actually means? Ma'am, assignment means so we make a specific file for them and we'll submit them and they'll give some extra marks due to that particular file. And I understand that that was the assignment for you in the school. But what in general assignment means? What in general assignment means? Assignment. That means assigning some work to someone is an assignment. Okay? So if I'm assigning some work to you, that is known as assignment. So why are we studying that in your strategic cost management subject for CMA final? Because here also you should have an understanding about how to assign a specific work to the worker. Ma'am, what is the complication in that?
It's so very easy, na? Whenever we got to know that there is a work, we can assign to a specific worker. But think about it, if you have a lot of works, let's assume we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. Okay? These are the works which need to be performed, and there are 5 different workers. And every worker which is available can work on these different jobs but take different times. Let's assume this worker is taking 10 minutes to cover the first job. Here it is taking 15 minutes, 20, 25, 30. Let's say for worker 2, it is 15, 17, 19, 18 and 20. For worker 3, it is 30, 20, 15, 14, 10. For worker 4, it is 10, 5, 6, 4, 3. And for worker 5, it is 5, 9, 18, 19, 20. Now assign the work. Now assign the work such that whenever we are assigning the work, what will be our aim? If this is time, we want to reduce the time. Hai? And keeping that in mind, we have to assign the work to the workers. Because it happens in the organization that all the worker cannot perform all the work efficiently. Hai? Some workers can perform some work efficiently, but not the other. Hai? So this is going to happen in the organization. So how to deal with this? In this scenario, how will I allocate the work to a particular worker? It's complicated here. Hai? And I to think, even if I take, let's say, for the first worker, if I take the smallest time which he is taking, that is the 10 minutes. Let's take the smallest time for second worker. That is also for the first job. Think about it. Now, whenever I'm assigning a work, I have to keep in mind that I'm going to assign one work only to one worker and one worker only to one work. There should be no 2 workers performing the same work. Okay? Plus, there should be no 2 work performed by single worker. So, if that is the case, then for second worker also, here is the minimum time. So, what should I take? Should I take this one? 17. Then if I take this, then for third worker, if I take 10, then what should I take for fourth worker? Because fourth worker also has the minimum time here. Should I take the next minimum like this? And then for fifth worker, here also I have the minimum time here itself. And the only left situation is this one. So this is known as random selection, which you have done right now. We were randomly selecting that the lowest time can be taken for the worker. But the thing is, then also, is it guaranteed that you are going to be efficient? You are reaching the lowest time possible? Answer is no. For that, though, you have to deal with all the scenarios which can be created in this situation. Now, let me tell you, whenever there is a case of job and workers and you have 5 different workers to perform 5 different jobs, and one work can be given to one worker only, and one worker will be assigned to one work. In both the situations, that means one work to one worker and one worker to one work. If that is the case, then in this scenario, if you have this 5 by 5 matrix, then in that case, you can have 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is equal to total 120 alternatives to solve this particular question. Now think about it. If there are 120 alternatives to solve this question, you have to figure out all those alternatives and then find out which one is the best one for you. This will to take a lot of time, and this is very complicated to do. If we are doing it in this way, then how to assign the work properly so that we can reduce the time to the lowest possible amount? For this, we are going to use a specific method which is known as Hungarian method. Now let me give you one more example to understand this in a better way. Let's take the example of Rapido. Rapido, let's assume we are taking a very small example. Rapido has 3 passengers. First one is Ramu, second is Chinky, and third one is Chintu. Now, and there are 3 taxis available. Now let me tell you one thing, all the passengers which are there, they are from different places. They all are in the they are all are not in the same places. They all don't know each other. They all are in different places. So whenever they are booking a taxi, they are booking specifically for themselves, है ना? And if that is the case, then can it happen that this taxi can take Ramu, Chinky, Chintu together and take them to their destinations? Answer is no. This will not happen. It can also happen that this Ramu, Chinky and Chintu are going to very different places. है ना? And that is why this Rapido has to assign the taxis, separate taxis for each of the customer. But these taxis are somewhat far from the customers and the time to travel to the customer is given to us. If taxi A travels to Ramu, then it is going to take 5 minutes. If taxi A travels to Chinky, it is going to take 9 minutes. If taxi A travels to Chintu, then it is going to take 20 minutes. Similarly, for B and C also the time is given that how much time it will take to reach to that particular customer. Now what Rapido wants? Rapido wants that the customer should get the services as fast as possible. है ना? And if that is what we want, then how to allocate a particular taxi to a particular passenger such that we can lower the total time which is taken here? What do you think? So let's take for the first taxi. Can I take this 5 minutes because this is the lowest? And then for the second taxi, if you notice, this 7 minutes is the lowest for the second taxi. But for third taxi, if you notice, the lowest time was 8 minutes. But this Chintu is already booked with taxi B. Now taxi C again cannot go to Chintu. Taxi C has only one option, that it can fulfill the requirement of Chinky. And if I do this, then so the total time is 5 plus 7 plus 20, that is equal to 32 minutes. है ना? And this is huge. I can reduce this particular time by doing little changes. And if you notice here, if I take the total for B and C, then the total time taken is 27 minutes. Now rather than going like this, if I do this, B is going to Chinky and C is going to Chintu, then the total time taken by both of them together is 16 minutes only. है ना? So this is a much better situation if you want to reduce the total time. You are not focusing only on one passenger, you are focusing on the total time which is taken to provide the services, and hence this is the best option available here. Now if I take the total time now, so 5 plus 8 plus 8, that is equal to 21 minutes. Within 21 minutes, we will be able to provide the services. Earlier we were taking 32 minutes. So we are able to reduce the time by 11 minutes here, and it is a better situation for us. And I think this is the only best situation available here. But I have no guarantee about this is the only situation. I have to evaluate all the alternatives which are available here and then only find out that this is the only best situation. And for evaluating all the alternatives, I have to make different scenarios. Like the first scenario where taxi A is given to passenger 1, taxi B is given to passenger 2 and taxi C is given to passenger 3. Then the second scenario can be A is given to 2, B is given to 1 and C is given to 3. है ना? Similarly, another scenario can be like this. So we can make different number of scenarios here, and on the basis of different number of scenarios, we have to evaluate which one is giving us the lowest time. Okay? But the thing is, whenever you are doing this random selection or you are doing a trial and error kind of method which we are doing as of now, then the number of solutions which can arise here is 3 into 2 into 1, that is equal to 6 solutions can arise here. Ma'am, how you calculated that this 6 number of solutions are going to be there? So whenever you are doing this trial and error method, so we say that what is the number of your rows and columns? It is 3. है ना? So your answers can be 3 factorial. This is the number of solutions which you can have. Now what does 3 factorial means? 3 factorial means 3 into 2 into 1. This is 3 factorial. If I take 4 factorial, so if my matrix was 4 rows and 4 columns, then it will be 4 factorial. This is the number of solution I can have. 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is the total number of solution you will get when you are having 4 by 4 matrix. And when you have this 5 by 5 matrix, then you have 5 factorial answers which I calculated here. That 120 solutions can be there of this particular chart when you are doing this trial and error method. So it becomes complicated. It is impossible to solve a particular solution when the number of rows and columns become higher, and when you are trying this trial and error method to solve this particular scenario. So trial and error method is just for understanding that what happens here, but practically no one applies this because it takes a lot of time to do this trial and error and understand that what will happen in this situation and what is the least amount of time we can reach to. Okay? So if trial and error method doesn't work, then what is the method for solving this situation and finding out which particular task to be assigned to which particular worker? So for that, we have different number of methods available to us. Now let's read what is given in your book. Okay? Assignment means allocating people to different jobs on a one-to-one basis. Now you need to understand this, that this assignment problem which we are solving with the help of a method which is known as Hungarian method. What this Hungarian method does, it assigns one work to one worker only. You will not be able to assign two workers to one work, plus there will be no situations where two work or two jobs are assigned only to one worker. This is a one-to-one basis allocation of jobs to the workers. One-to-one means one job to one worker only and one worker to one job only. Okay? Assignment problem is a special linear programming problem. Now what does this linear programming problem means? We don't know as of now that what does linear programming problem means. We are going to understand what is linear programming problem in our chapter number 6. But as of now, that is not our focus. So let's keep it like assignment problem is a special type of problem where n persons must be assigned to n jobs in such a way that the total cost or total time is minimized. Whenever we are doing assignment, our main aim is to minimize the cost or minimize the time which is taken here. So as if you notice, in the example I have given, we were focusing on minimizing the time. It can also happen that with the help of this assignment, you are able to lower the cost also. So is it like this assignment method which we are using is only applicable wherever you want to lower something? Answer is yes. This assignment method, the Hungarian method which we are going to use, is made only for lowering the cost or lowering the time. But with the help of this method, you will be able to increase your profits and increase your sales also. But not directly, because this method is specifically made for lowering something. So whenever there is a revenue or profit, we have to separately deal with it and then follow the step-by-step method of Hungarian to find out what is the maximum profit here or maximum revenue here. Okay? So it is not directly possible to find out the maximum profit or maximum revenue, but indirectly or in an indirect way, we can actually find out what is the maximum profit and revenue with the help of this assignment method. Now, your objective, give each person one job in such a way that the total cost is minimum. So our aim is to reduce the cost as much as possible by assigning one person to one job. Or total effectiveness is maximum depending on the question. So it depends on the question that what it wants. If question wants us to minimize the cost or minimize the time, then that is the aim with which we will solve our assignment problem. And if the question is telling us to maximize revenue or maximize profit, then that can also be done here, as I already told you. But there is one more step which I have to follow to find out maximization or maximum profit or revenue which I am earning. But that is also possible with the help of assignment. Why it is a problem? Why we are saying that assigning a job to a worker is actually a problem? Because it can be complicated if there are different scenarios available. Plus think about it, every worker has different ability, and that is why it becomes much more complicated. Now think about it, if workers were having exact same ability, every worker performing each job is taking 5 minutes only, then so there is no issue. I can assign any worker to any job, there is no issue with that. Issue becomes only and only when your workers have different ability, and that is what happens in reality. Workers are having different kind of abilities. Why it is a problem? Because every person has different ability for each job. So the cost time for each person job combination is different, as we have seen here. So for each person job combination, if you are seeing cost or time, it is different everywhere. And that is why it becomes complicated to assign the task to a particular person. Method of solving assignment problem. How to solve this assignment problem? So there are total 4 methods available with us. The first one is complete enumeration method. That is your trial and error method. That is what we were doing while finding out which one is the best scenario. You have to try all possible assignment, then only you will be able to find out the best out of all of them. And for that, the number of solutions which can be there can be n factorial. N factorial means it depends on the number of rows or columns you have. If you have 10 rows and 10 columns, then to the total number of solutions which you can have here is 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is the total number of solution you are going to have. And if I total this, then this is equal to 36,28,800 number of solution. Now think about it. If you are trying to solve or find out all these solution and then trying to find out the best, so it will become complicated for you. It is impossible when size increases, as here the size increased and it became impossible for us to solve 36,28,800 solutions. Okay? Not practical, not used in real life, only for explanation, not for application. Works only for very small problems. If the problem is 2 by 2 matrix or 3 by 3 matrix, then so you can easily solve. Because think about it. If it is a 2 by 2 matrix, then 2 into 1. The total number of solution is going to be 2 only. You can easily solve it. If it is a 3 by 3 matrix, then to 3 into 2. The total number of solution here is going to be only 6. And then also you will be able to solve it very easily. Ma'am, how are we deciding that what is the number of solutions which are there? I already told you it is decided by n factorial. But why are we applying n factorial here? Understand this. Let's assume this is the case I am taking. This is a 3 by 3 matrix. So the total number of answers which can be here is 6. 3 into 2 into 1, that is equal to 6 is the number of solutions. Now how it is decided? So let's take the example of taxi A. I have not allocated anything to taxi B and C as of now. I am thinking about what to allocate for taxi A. So taxi A has 3 options. Out of this, I have allocated this one to taxi A. If that is the case, then for taxi B, as this is already allocated, now for taxi B, we have only 2 options. And now for taxi C, if taxi B is allocated for this particular task, then to for taxi C, we have left with only 1 options. And that is why 3 into 2 into 1 comes from. 3 is the number of option available with the first one which you are assigning the work. 2 is the number of option available with the second one. And 1 is the number of option available with the last one. And that is how 3 into 2 into 1 gives you 6 number of solutions which can be there in these scenarios. Okay? Now, this was complete enumeration or trial and error method. We already understood that this is only for explanation. We are not going to apply this in our questions. Now let's see the next method, which is known as simplex method. The name is simplex, but it is not a simple method. It is a complicated method and used for general situations. Like if you have a lot of constraint, your time is limited, your resources are limited, your workers are limited. I have a lot of limitation in my questions. That is the case when we use this simplex method. And this is covered in your linear programming problem. I already told you that this linear programming we are going to see in chapter number 6. This is of no use here. But we can actually use this particular method for assigning the task. But it becomes very complicated if we use this particular method for assigning the task. Okay? Because it is not made specifically for assignment of tasks to the worker, and hence if you solve your assignment with the help of this simplex method, it becomes too complicated to handle it. Too lengthy, introduces many constraints, requires artificial variable or big M sometimes. This is a kind of scenario which can arise in simplex method, and this scenario creates much more complication for us to handle it. Next, Computationally inefficient for assignment structure. Assignment is a very simple structure where just you are taking one job and assigning it to the particular worker. And for that, doing this much complication is actually of no use. It's a overkill for a simple one-to-one assignment problem. It becomes too complicated for handling this simple situation of assigning a job to a specific worker. And that is why we don't use this simplex method for assigning the work. But if there are situations to solve this question with simplex method, you can actually solve it. And there is one more method which is known as transportation method, and this we are going to study in our chapter number 7. This transportation is also a kind of way with the help of which you can assign the work to a specific worker. But here also it becomes complicated. Better than simplex, but still not optimal for you to handle assignment problem. This also is a complicated, not as complicated as simplex, but then also it is a complicated situation to handle a simple assignment problem. As transportation method also becomes complicated, to handle assignment problem, there is a specific method which is used for handling assignment problem, and that is known as Hungarian method. Ma'am, if Hungarian method is there, which is simplest among all those methods, so why we have this transportation or simplex method? This transportation or simplex method, you can tell it like a generalized method which can be used to solve different kind of scenarios, and one scenario which they can handle is assignment also. They can also handle assignment. But as they are not specific techniques for handling assignment, and hence they become complicated for handling assignment problem. And that is why this Hungarian was developed, which was very simple to handle this assignment problems. Okay? Specifically developed for assignment problem, directly works on cost matrix. Cost matrix means whenever there is a situation where you want to reduce the cost or you reduce the time, whenever it is a minimization question, it is asking us to reduce the cost or reduce the time, doesn't matter. It can directly work on it. So for all the minimization question, we can directly work this Hungarian method on it. But the thing is, when the question becomes of profit matrix means the question is asking us to maximize something. It can be your revenue, it can be your profit, it can be anything else, doesn't matter. But whenever it is a maximization question, we say it as profit matrix. So whenever it is a profit matrix question, you can't directly use it in assignment. You have to follow a specific one more step to use it and to find out what is the highest profit revenue you are earning in this particular situation. Okay? No linear programming formulation needed. What is linear programming formulation? Linear programming requires us to form a specific equation with the help of x or y. But here in Hungarian method, while doing your assignment, you need not form any kind of equation like this. Very fast and systematic. You need not use complicated situations or handle complicated situations in here. This is very fast, very systematic. A step-by-step process will be followed with the help of which you will be easily be able to handle this assignment problem. Next, guarantee is optimal solution. It is guaranteed that the solution which you are getting from your Hungarian method going to be the best one, that is the least cost situation, that is the least time situation which you wanted. Or you can also find out the maximum revenue which you can earn from the alternatives which you have, or the maximum revenue profit you can earn from the alternatives which is available to you. Next, easy to apply even for large matrices. Even if the matrix is of 5, 6, 7 or 10 by 10 matrix where there are 10 rows and 10 columns, then also you can handle it very easily as compared to other methods which are available to us. This method handles minimization. If you want to minimize your cost, if you want to minimize your time, you can use this method. If you want to maximize something, it can be revenue or profit or anything else, whichever you want to increase, you can use this method for maximization also. Unbalanced problem. Now what does this unbalanced problem means? Now let's take a scenario that we have this 3 passengers only, but the number of taxi drivers available to us is 4. There is one more taxi driver which is G, and for him also the time is available that 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. If that is the case, then it is known as an unbalanced situation. And in this unbalanced situation also can be handled in your assignment problem. But for handling this unbalanced situation also, we have to follow one more step so that we can make it balanced. Because if I tell you, your Hungarian method cannot directly handle this unbalanced situation. You have to follow a specific method to make it balanced. Balanced means if there are 4 rows, then there should be 4 columns. Then only this problem can be solved with the help of assignment problem. So there is a one more step which need to be followed to make this assignment problem balanced, and then only you can solve this further. Okay? Now, this Hungarian method can also handle prohibited assignment. Now, what does this prohibited assignment means? Let's take an example that this taxi B doesn't want to go to Chinky because he has gone to Chinky's place a lot of times, but she irritates him a lot. So, taxi B is saying that I'll not serve Chinky. If that is the case, then there is a prohibition that taxi B don't want to go to Chinky. And this prohibition can also be handled in this Hungarian method. With that, multiple optimal solutions. It can happen that sometimes there are multiple optimal solutions, that the same solution can be found out from different alternatives also. Like let's say, here I assigned taxi A to passenger 1, taxi B to passenger 2 and taxi C to passenger 3. Here I am getting the time as 21 and this is the lowest time which we are getting as of now. Hana? If we can get this exact lowest time from other alternatives also, like let's say if taxi A is assigned to 2, B is assigned to 1 and C is assigned to 3. In this case also I am getting the exact same 21 minutes which was the lowest, then that is known as alternative solution. So we can, with the help of this Hungarian method, can find out all the alternative solutions which can be there for a particular question. So all these different scenarios can be handled in this Hungarian method. So this becomes a best choice whenever you are doing assignment problem. Most efficient and purpose-built method it is. Okay? So now after understanding that what all are the methods available, we are specifically going to focus only on the most beneficial method for assignment, that is your Hungarian method. Now to understand this, there is a step-by-step process which you need to follow, and this step-by-step process is already covered in your concept book. So for this particular chapter, you need not write anything in your summary book. What you have to do is, in your book, just mark this page or just fold this page so that whenever you want to revise assignment problem, you can directly refer from here. Plus with that, there are some things which I want you to write about this particular topic, and that we can write in this page where you have this place. Key takeaways or notes are available in your assignment problem. Here the space is available. Whatever extra things are there, we can write it here. So your complete summary is already covered here. So now for this particular chapter, you have to write nothing in your summary book. It's a good thing. Now, let's try to understand the steps involved for solving assignment problem with the help of this Hungarian method. Okay? Now to understand this, I am taking this particular example which we have drawn here. Now, in this example, as minutes are already also written, I want to make it a little simple. So I am drawing it again. Passenger 1, passenger 2, passenger 3. No need of drawing to you. You just understand as of now. A, B, C. 5, 10, 15, 9, 8, 20, 27 and 8. Then there is D also, and for D the time is 10, 5 and 15, and we have to find out the least amount of time by allocating the job to a specific worker. Okay? Now the job is these passengers. Assume that the passengers are the job and the workers are this taxis A, B, C, D. Okay? Now balance the unbalanced assignment problem. This is the most important and the first step. Always going to be the first step whenever you are solving assignment problem. You have to see whether the problem is balanced or unbalanced. Balanced means the columns and rows should be exactly equal. So if you notice here in this case, when I have taken this 4 scenarios, I have 4 rows but 3 columns. And that is why this is not equal. And if it is not equal, then it is known as unbalanced assignment situation. And if it is unbalanced, so you have to balance it, and then only you will be able to solve it further. So how to balance it? If it is balanced, good enough, you can move directly to step number 2. If it is unbalanced, you have to balance it. And for balancing it, you need to add dummy column or row to make it balanced. You have to add a dummy. Dummy means a situation which is not actually in reality, but we are just assuming it to make this particular situation balanced. Now, if you notice, here I have 4 different rows with me, but the number of columns are only 3. That means the number of columns are lowest. If the number of columns are lowest, that means I have to add one more or the extra number of columns so that I can make my rows and number of columns equal. If there are 4 rows, then I should have 4 columns also. But as I only have 3, I have to add one more, and I'm naming it as P4, and it is a dummy column. So it is important for you to write it as dummy. Okay? Whenever we are adding this dummy, we want something inside also. What should be the cost element here? Okay? So these elements, I'm assuming it to be 0 because it is a dummy. So in reality, there will be no time taken for performing this dummy because this is not a real situation, and hence we have taken it as 0. And that is how you balance the situation. Now you have 4 rows and 4 columns. I hope you already understand that what is the number of what we call it as row and what we call as column. This is known as row and this is our column. It's very important for this particular chapter to understand what is row and what is column. So if you don't have the understanding, just understand that this one is known as row and this is known as the columns. Okay? Chalo. Now, after balancing the situation, you have to follow your step number 2. Now, before following this step number 2, I want to take it simple as of now. We will handle this unbalanced situation. But as of now, let's take it simple. You to understand now, whenever there is an unbalanced situation, you have to add dummy column or dummy row, whichever is lower. So if columns are lower, to add one more column. If rows are lower, to add one more row. But as of now, I want to take it simple, and that is why I'm removing this T column. I'm just having this 3 by 3 row. So it is balanced. So in step number 1, I got to know that there are 3 rows and there are only 3 columns. That means it is a balanced situation. I can move forward to step number 2. See what the step number 2 is saying. Check whether the question is of maximization or minimization. Maximization means the question wants us to maximize something. It can be your revenue, it can be your profit, it can be anything. But as of now, if you notice, in this question, though, I have time. And time is to be minimized. Hence, we are in this minimization side. And if the question is of minimization, you can go to next step directly. So as of now, we are solving the minimization question. So we are moving directly to step number 3. So the step number 1 is check whether your question is balanced or unbalanced. If balanced, good enough, you can move to step number 2. Step number 2, check whether the question is of maximization or minimization. If the question is of maximization, then you have to do something. But if it is a question of minimization, then we can directly move to step number 3. As of now, we are solving a minimization question and hence we are moving to step number 3, which says that we have to perform a row operation. Now, what does row operation actually means? Finding the smallest cost element from each row and subtract it from the other elements in the row to create reduced cost table. Now, what this specific point is saying? So, after following step number 1, that is balancing your table, our table is already balanced. Then, step number 2, check your question is maximization or minimization. Our question is of minimization. That means we can move directly to step number 3, which says us to follow row operation. Now, what is row operation? For row operation, you have to find out the least element from the row. From whatever value is given inside the table, you have to take the least element out of it, and the least it is 5. Similarly, for the second row, we have the least amount as 7. For the third row, we have the least amount as 8. And this is what our point was saying. find the smallest cost element from each row. That we found out, and then subtract it from the other elements in the row to create reduced cost table. Now to create your reduced cost table, you have to reduce this smallest element from all the elements which are there in your specific rows. So now we'll get our new table P1, P2, P3, A, B and C. In this new table, if I reduce this 5 from 5, this is 0. 9 minus 5 is 4. Remember one thing, whenever we are reducing, we'll not write it in minus, like 5 minus 20 should be minus 15. Nothing. We have to keep it in plus positive signs only. So 20 minus 5 is 15. 10 minus 7 is 3. 8 minus 7 is 1. 7 minus 7 is 0. 15 minus 8 is 7. Then 20 minus 8 is 12. 8 minus 8 is 0. Okay? This is what we got after following your row operation. That is our third step. Now let's see the fourth step which is given to us. And that is column operation. Find the smallest element from each column and subtract it from all the elements in that column. So now we have to find out the minimum value of each column. So here we are following column operation. For this column operation, you have to find out minimum value from each column. In this column we have 0, in this column it is 1 and in this column it is 0. Now after finding out the minimum value, you need to make your table again. This can also be called as matrix. Cost matrix means a matrix where cost is given as the elements here. Okay? So this is our cost matrix, and whenever we say cost matrix, it can be a situation of minimization where it is not necessary that it should be cost. It can be time also, as we have seen in this question. So whenever a minimization question is there, we call the matrix as the cost matrix. So A, B, C. As we are reducing 0 from all the values, we are going to get the same value. Here we have to reduce 1. So 4 minus 1 is 3, 1 minus 1 is 0, 12 minus 1 is 11. Then 15 minus 0 is 0 and again 0 and 0. This is what we are getting after following your row and column operation. Now this row and column operation is followed so that we can get at least 1 0 in every row and every column. If you notice, in this column I have 1 0, here I have 2, here I have 1. Then if you notice, here I have 1, here I have 1, here I have 2. So the purpose of following row and column operation is to get zeros in every row and every column. Now after doing your row and column operation, the next step is optimality. Now to check optimality, first though I have to do row scanning. Row scanning, where you have to see whether only 1 0 is there in the row or not. So if I'm checking whether 1 0 is there or not, I'll check that if only 1 0 is there, then I can move to this side, and if there are more than 1 zeros or no zeros are available in a particular row, then you have to go to this side. Okay? If there is only 1 0, then what to do? Then put square around the 0 and cut the column where the 0 is. Now let's assume there is a particular row where I found 1 0, and if 1 0 is there, then I have to put a square around that particular 0, and as I am scanning row, I have to cut the column. Okay? Whenever you are doing this row scanning, you have to cut the particular column. Okay? This is what you have to do for the rows where you found the zeros, only 1 0. But if it is a case of more than 1 0 or you are not finding any 0, then to skip that particular row. You will skip that row and move to the next row. Now let's do this in our question. If you notice, in the first row, I am finding 1 0, and as there is 1 0, I'll mark square in it and I'll cut the column. Okay? Whenever you are scanning row, you have to cut the column. Now the next step, if you notice, here I have 2 zeros. So skip this particular row, move to the next row. In this row, I have 1 0. So I'll mark square in this particular 0 and cut the column as I was scanning row. Okay? This was our row scanning. Now after this, let's see what the steps are saying. Continue this step till all rows are checked for zeros. We to have checked all the rows, and then only we found out this one. So all the rows are checked for us. All zeros are covered. So if you notice, here we are left with 1 0. All zeros are covered means it should be covered with line. So if you notice, this 0 is already covered with line. These 2 zeros are also covered with line. But this 0 is left as of now. So all zeros are covered. For us, though, all zeros are not covered. And if all zeros are not covered, go for column scanning. Now, as we have done row scanning, in similar fashion, we have to do column scanning also. In column scanning, see whether there are 1 0 in the column or not. If there is more than 1 0 or if there is no 0 in that particular column, then to skip that particular column. But if you find only 1 0 in the column, then put square around the 0, and as you are doing column scanning, you have to cut the row. Okay? Now, let's see this. So we have already done our row scanning, and after row scanning, this particular column has already been crossed. This particular column has already been crossed. So the only column which is left now is this one. So I'll analyze this column, and I found out that only 1 0 is available here. So I'll mark square in it, and I was analyzing column, I was scanning column, I have to cut the row. Which row? The row in which you found out that 0 with square. That is the row you have to cut. Okay? Done. Now this is our row and column scanning. Now after doing row and column scanning, continue this step until all columns are checked. Are all columns are checked? Other columns are already filled. Now if you notice, we are again here where all zeros are covered. Yes, now all zeros are already covered with lines. And if all zeros are covered, then I have to check for optimality. Optimality means find out whether you reach the best situation or not. How to find that out? If number of zeros with square is equal to number of rows column, the solution is optimal. If you notice, whenever we solve this assignment problem, if it is unbalanced, we balance it and make the number of rows and column equal. So number of rows or column should be always equal in your assignment problem, and that is equal to 3. 3 is the number of row and 3 is the number of column which we have. And whatever is your number of rows or column, that should be the exact number of zeros with square. And if you notice, 1, 2 and 3. This is the number of zeros with square which we have. So as number of rows or column is exactly equal to number of zeros with square, we reach the optimal situation. So we can write here that number of rows or columns is exactly equal to number of zeros with square, hence optimality achieved. And if optimality is achieved, then your solution is complete. But this is not how we show the final answer. We have to show the final answer by showing the allocation and the total time which is taken now. So A, B, C were the taxi drivers, and the passengers were, for A, we assigned passenger 1, for B, we assigned passenger 2, for C, we assigned passenger 3. Okay? And the time taken here is, this time taken should always be taken from the first table which you have in your question. So, A is assigned to P1. A is assigned to P1. The time is 5 minutes. B is assigned to P2. B is assigned to P2. The time is 8 minutes. Next, C is assigned to P3. C is assigned to P3. That is 8 minutes. Okay? Now, 5 plus 8 plus 8, that is equal to 21 is the total time. And that is what we also find out when we solve this 3 case scenario. I'm not taking this G. Remember that. when we solved this particular question, we were only solving for A, B, C. We assume that there is no D as such available here. Okay? Now, this is how you should solve your questions related to assignment problem. There are more steps, there are more things involved in your assignment problem methods. But before going into that, let's solve some questions so that at least up to this point, whatever we understood, we can practice and make that clear, very clear in our mind. Okay? So, first we are starting with this question number 2. Find the optimal solution for the assignment problem with the following cost matrix. So, first thing, remember always that you have to follow your steps given in your method of Hungarian. As we have studied in the concept book, that is the step you have to check always. So, your step number 1 is check whether the matrix which is given to you is balanced or unbalanced. Balanced means number of rows or columns should be equal. Unbalanced means number of rows and column is not equal. So if you notice A, B, C, D, 4 rows are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 columns are there. So they are balanced already. Step number 1 is done. Step number 2, check whether the question is of maximization or minimization. So as the question is specifically mentioning that it is a cost matrix means minimization. So it is a question of minimization. And we already understood that if the question is of minimization, you can directly move to step number 3, that is row operation. Okay? So in this question, we are starting with the row operation. We have 1. Let me just draw the table properly and make sure that you are drawing the table properly because it should look good. In the exam, it should be clear. It should be easily understandable by the examiner because these questions related to assignment are not much complicated. The thing which matters here is the presentation. Your answer should be presented properly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. We have A, B, C, and D. This is our salesman. And here we have area. Okay? And this is our cost matrix. So first I'll draw the matrix as it is 11, 9, 13, 14. Let me just copy this. You have to always draw, but I can to copy. So let me just copy it. Now 11, 9, 13, 14, 17, 7, 16, 10, 8, 12, 15, 12, 16, 6, 12, 11. Okay? Now, after this, in row operation, what we do? We found out the lowest value from each row. So here we have 8, here we have 6, then we have 12, then we have 10 as the lowest value. Now, we have to draw another table. And in this table, after reducing these values, we have to draw this again. So 11 minus 8 is 3. 17 minus 8 is 9. Then your 8 minus 8 is 0. 16 minus 8 is 8. 9 minus 6 is 3. 7 minus 6 is 1. 12 minus 6 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. 13 minus 12, 1. 16 minus 12, 4. 15 minus 12, 3. 12 minus 12, 0. 14 minus 10 is 4. 10 minus 10 is 0. 12 minus 10 is 2. 11 minus 10 is 1. Okay? After the row operation, we got this new table. Now here we have to do column operation. That is our step number 4. In column operation, you have to find out the lowest value from each column. Here we have 1, 0, 0, and 0. After this, we'll make a new table. And here we are going to write the new values. So 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 minus 1 is 2, 1 minus 1 is 0, 4 minus 1 is 3. So whatever you found out as the lowest value of each column, you have to reduce it from all the values, and that is what we are doing here. And then we have 0, that means every value will remain as it is, no changes in it. Next again we have 0, again we have 0. The purpose of row and column operation is to get 0 in every row and every column. At least 1 0 should be there. Now after that we can do row and column scanning. This is our step number 5. First we should start with row scanning. So in row scanning you have to scan the row and check whether there are 1 0 or not. So here we are finding 1 0, and if 1 0 is there, then put square in that 0, and as we were scanning row, we should cut the column in which we found that 0 with square. Done. Now similarly we have to check for the next row. In this next row also we found 1 0 only, and if there is 1 0, then you can put square in it and cut the column as we were doing row scanning. Again we are going to do the same thing. In this row, if you notice, there is 1 0. Ma'am, there is 2 zeros. But the thing is, this 0 is already crossed. Everything which is crossed, you need not consider that. So now this C row has only 2 values. Out of these 2 values, one is 0. Hence, we have 1 0 in this row. We can mark square in that 0 and cut the column. Similarly, if you notice, in D row, we are left with 1 value, and that is 0. And if there is 1 0, you are going to mark it with square and cut the column. Done. Now after this, what to do? After this, check what is the number of rows and columns which you have. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is the number of rows, and that is equal number of columns. So 4 rows and 4 columns are there. So your number of zeros with square should also be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If they are equal, hence you achieved optimality in this case. Okay? So write it down. Number of rows or columns is equal to number of zeros with square. As they are equal, we achieved optimality. Hence, optimality is achieved. Okay? Now, after achieving the optimality, what to do? You have to write the final answer. So, salesman and area. A, B, C and D are the salesmen. And what is the area we allotted to them? To A we allotted 3. So wherever you put that square, that is where assignment is actually happening. Okay? So this is known as assignment. Now A is allotted to 3. Okay? Next, in B we have 0 in the 4th column. Hence B is allotted to 4th. For C, we have 0 with square in the 1st column. Hence, C is allotted to 1. And for D, we have 0 with square in the 2nd column. Hence, D is allotted to 2nd. Done. Now, if you have not written this, first write it down and then we'll discuss the final answer. Remember the steps. If you remember the steps, you'll be able to solve it very easily. Row operation, starting with balancing. If it is unbalanced, balance the scenario. Then see whether the question is of maximization or of minimization. Then if it is a question of minimization, you can directly move to step number 3, that is row operation. Then move to column operation. Then move to row and column scanning. After row and column scanning, if all the zeros are covered, then check whether you reach the optimality or not. If you reach the optimality, then that is your final answer. Now, after allotment, we should also write the cost which is there. And the cost is, so for A, we have to take 3. For B, we have to take 4. For C, we have to take 1. For D, we have to take 2. So 3, 4, 1, 2 is our answer. 3, 4, 1 and 2. 8, 6, 13, 10. 8, 6, 13 and 10. If I take the total of all of it, this is equal to 37. And 37 is your final answer. Done. Now after this, we can move forward to the next question. See what it says. Question number 4. A computer center has 3 export programmers and need to develop 3 application programs. The head of the center estimates the time required in minutes by the respective experts to develop the application program are as follows. So we have programs A, B and C and the programmers are 1, 2 and 3. Okay? For them, time required in minutes is given. So whenever time is there, minutes are there, we have to always reduce it. That means it is a question of minimization. And if you notice, this situation is already balanced. 3 rows and 3 columns. Hence, this situation is already balanced. Step number 1 is completed. This question is of minimization. Step number 2 is completed. I can directly move to step number 3, that is row operation. Now, if you notice, this question is saying formulate a linear programming model. We don't know linear programming model as of now. So, this will be formed when we already studied chapter number 6. So, after studying chapter number 6, we are going to see this linear programming formation. Okay? Now, solve using Hungarian method. This is what the question is all about. Let's do this. So, for that though, I have to make the table again. Row operation is where we are starting this solution. There are 3 rows and 3 columns. Programmers are 1, 2 and 3. And programs are A, B, C. Understand one thing. It doesn't matter that what the question is providing us where. It can happen that the question is providing us here the workers and here the jobs. It can also happen that jobs are available here and workers are available here. Doesn't matter. All of it will not impact your answer. So no need to rearrange whatever is given in your table. You can directly take it. It doesn't matter whether job is given here or workers is given here or workers are given here or job is given here. Doesn't matter at all. Okay? Now, 120, 100, 80. Minimum is 80. 80, 90, 110. Minimum is 80 again. 110, 140, 120. Minimum is 110. That is what we do in row operation. We found out the minimum value. And then we have to make the table again. So, after reducing your least value from the row, from all the elements which are there, you have to make this new table. So, 120 minus 80 is 40, 100 minus 80 is 20, 80 minus 80 is 0, 80 minus 80 is 0, 90 minus 80 10, 110 minus 80 is 30. Then 0, 30 and 10. Tick. After this, after row operation, what you need to do? You need to follow column operation. Whatever you are following, you need to write that in your table. Okay? Now we'll follow column operation where we have to find out the least value from each column. Here we have 0, here we have 10, here we have 0. Now, so 40, 0, 0, because if I reduce 0 from any value, I am going to get the same value only. And then 10. So 20 minus 10 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. 30 minus 10 is 20. 0, 30 and 10. Okay? After getting this, we are done with step number 4, row operation. Step number 3, row operation. Step number 4, column operation. Now we have to move to step number 5, where we are going to do row and column scanning. Now in this row and column scanning, we scan the row first. So in this row, if you notice, we are getting only 1 0. So if there is 1 0, then though you need to put square and cut the column. Whenever you are doing row scanning, you have to cut the column. Now if you notice, in this row there are 2 zeros. If 2 zeros are there, leave that row and move to the next one. In this next row, we are having 1 0. And if 1 0 is there, put square in it and cut the column, because we were scanning rows. Now all the rows are already scanned. Now move to column scanning, because we are left with 1 0 also. If you are left with any number of zeros where there is no crossing, then though you need to do column scanning also. But if after row scanning itself all the zeros are covered, then no need of going to column scanning. But all zeros are not covered, then go for column scanning. In this column, because this column is already cut, and this column is already cut, I am left with only one column. In this column, I am having 1 0. So mark that 0 with square, and as you were scanning columns, cut the row. It's very important to understand where to put the cut, because it plays a lot of role. Now to not, but when the questions become complicated, this lines become very important for us to decide whether we are going to get the correct answer or not. Okay? Now, all zeros are covered in your answer. All zeros are covered. And if all zeros are covered, you can check for optimality. When optimality is achieved, when the number of rows or column is equal to number of zeros with square. As we have 3 programmers and 3 programs, and that is the exact number of zeros with square, we achieved optimality. So write it down. Number of rows or columns is equal to number of zeros with square. Hence optimality achieved. And if optimality is achieved, then what to do? Then you have to write the final answer. Programmers and programs. And with that, the question is providing us time in minutes. So programmers are 1, 2, 3. And for one programmer, we have assigned the C program. For second programmer, we assigned B. For third programmer, we assigned A. Assignment is where you are putting 0 with square. Okay? Now after this, the time in minutes. CBA is what we have to take. C for first one, B for second one, and A for third one. So 80 plus 90 plus 110. That is equal to 280 minutes. This is the minimum time which we can achieve in this case. Okay? Now, and this is our optimal solution. Now, if you have not written any part, you can write it now. Now let's move forward to the third question. Now see what it says. Consider the problem of assigning 5 operations to 5 machines. So there are 5 operators and we are assigning that to 5 different machines. That means the number of columns and rows are exactly equal. Hence it is a balanced situation. So step number 1 is done. Next, The assignment cost is given. So if cost is given, then though it is a minimization question. Step number 2 is also done. We can directly start with row operation. Let's do that. See, in all the tables, it's not necessary to write this operators and machines, but this part is important, huh? This part should always be written in all your answers. So, here we have operators and machine. In the first matrix which I am making, I am writing this operators and machine, but I'll not write it in all the tables. Now, I can copy, but you have to write. Okay? You have to write. Make sure you are making all the tables properly so that you are practicing it in such a way. Hana? So that in exams also, you are not feeling irritated that this much table you have to draw. You already have practiced it a lot and you are very easily handling it in exams. And that is what we want. Okay? So practice as much as possible. Now, 10, 3, 10, 5, 7. It's very important to make this table very carefully, because if you made any mistake in any number, then to all your answer is completely wrong. Hana? So make sure that the numbers which you are taking from the question bank should be exactly same. 10, 3, 10, 5, 7. Next. 5, 9, 7, 11, 9, 13, 18, 2, 9, 10, 15, 3, 2, 7, 4, 16, 6, 2, 12, 12. Okay? Now, first we have to follow row operation. So, write it above the table that you are following here your row operation. So, in row operation, we have to find out the minimum value from each row. So, here we have 5, then 3, then 2, then 5, then 4. Now, after this, we have to make one more table, and this table will be for column operation now. But before performing column operation, I should write the numbers first. Okay? So 10 minus 5 is 5. Then we have 5 minus 5, 0. 13 minus 5 is 8. 15 minus 5 is 10. 16 minus 5 is 11. 3 minus 3, 0. 9 minus 3 is 6. 18 minus 3 is 15. 3 minus 3, 0. 6 minus 3 is 3. Next. 10 minus 2, 8. 7 minus 2, 5. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. Next. 5 minus 5, 0. 11 minus 5, 6. 9 minus 5, 4. 7 minus 5, 2. 12 minus 5, 7. 7 minus 4 is 3. 9 minus 4 is 5. 10 minus 4 is 6. 4 minus 4 is 0. And 12 minus 4 is 8. Okay? After this, you have to perform row operation, column operation. In column operation, what we do, we found out the least value from each column. And if you notice, in this column, the least value which I am getting is always 0. And if it is always 0, and I make this table again, I am going to get the same table again. Hana? So there is no benefit of doing that column operation now. Because everywhere I am getting this 0 only. So why will I follow that column operation again? Think about it. If the same table is going to come even after column operation, that means there is no need of following column operation. Column operation and row operation will be followed only and only when you are getting a reduced table. If the table is not reducing, if any element is not at all reducing, then what is the need of doing that? Hana? So here I am not gonna do column operation Because I'm going to get this exact table after doing column operation also. Because everywhere in every column the least value is 0. Now write it down. This is row and column scanning. Now I can directly move to the step number 5, which is row and column scanning. Okay? How to do row and column scanning? Check whether you have 1 0 or not. In this column row to we have 1 0. Just mark it with square. And as you are doing row scanning, cut the column. Next, in the second row we have 2 zeros, skip that row. In the third row we have 3 zeros, skip that row. In the fourth row we have 1 0, mark with square and cut the column. Next, in the fifth row we have 1 0, mark it with square and cut the column. Okay? This was about column row scanning. Now we have to move to column scanning. Why to move to column scanning? Because we are left with 2 zeros. Hence we have to move to column scanning. Now this column is already cut. This column is already cut. This is the column which I have to see. And here the value is, we have 1 0. And if 1 0 is there, you can mark it. And as you were doing column scanning, you have to cut the row. Okay? Now this is what I'm getting. As all the zeros are covered, now you have to check whether you reached the optimality or not. When we reach optimality, when the number of rows or column, which is 5, should be equal to number of zeros with square. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Zeros with square are only 4, but the number of rows and columns are equal to 5. Now what to do? Now you have not reached optimality. So let me first write that. Our number of zeros with square is not equal to number of rows or columns. And if it is not equal, optimality is not achieved. Now, if optimality is not achieved, then to your answer is completed or what? Answer is no. You have to reach optimality. If you have not achieved optimality, then you need to continue solving this question. Now, how to solve this question if we didn't reach the optimality? So, let's see the steps for the same. So, we have already seen step number 1, step number 2, step number 3 and step number 4. We have also seen this step number 5. Up to this point, that check for optimality. If number of zeros with square is equal to number of rows or column, then solution is optimal. Okay? Now, continue this step until all columns are checked. We have checked all the columns, we have checked all the rows, we have marked all the zeros. Now, all the zeros are covered with lines. All zeros should be covered with lines. We have already covered. Following row and column scanning. If not, follow row and column scanning again and again to cover all zeros. We have already covered, hence this step is not applicable for us. Now this note is also not applicable for us. Okay? But this point, the last point of note is applicable. Check for optimality. If optimality is not achieved, then move to step number 6. In our situation, the optimality is not achieved, and if optimality is not achieved, we have to move to step number 6. This step number 6 is about improved metrics. Ma'am, what is there in this note? We are going to study. We have left some of the things in this steps. The first one is this maximization part. The second one is this note part. I'll make you understand that with the help of examples, with the help of questions. But as of now, let's move to step number 6. Okay? Because this is what is required in our question. We checked for optimality, but our optimality is not achieved. Hence, we are moving to step number 6, where we have to make an improved matrix. For making improved matrix, what to do? Find out the smallest uncovered cost element. Uncovered means it should not be covered with the lines. Okay? So let's check it. Uncovered element is this, not covered with lines, not covered with lines, not covered with lines and not covered with lines. Out of this uncovered elements, you have to find out the least cost uncovered element. So least one is this 3. This is the lowest value. So I have marked this. Now let's see what this step is saying. find out the smallest uncovered cost element, subtract it from all uncovered cost element. So from all this uncovered cost element, I have to subtract this 3. Okay? Let's do that. So we are making our improved matrix now. Improved matrix. Now, how to make this improved matrix? Check for all the uncovered elements. Out of all these uncovered elements, find out the smallest value, which is 3. This 3 should be reduced from all the uncovered elements. Let's do that. So in the third column, first row, I'm getting this 8, and in the second row, I'm getting 15. So 8 minus 3 is 5. 15 minus 3 is 12. It's very important to write them in the same place where they were earlier. 11 minus 3 is 8. 3 minus 3 is 0. Now in the fifth column, last row, I have 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. Fifth column, second last row, 7. 7 minus 3 is 4. Then third column, last row, 6 minus 3 is 3. Third column, second last row, 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay? Now, after this, subtract it from all uncovered cost element. We already did that. Adding it to the intersection of any line. You have to add the smallest uncovered element to the intersection of any line. Let's see the intersection. Intersection means where two lines are intersecting like this. Okay? So if you notice here, the lines are intersecting. Here the line is intersecting. Here the line is intersecting. These are the only 3 places where line is intersecting. Okay? If that is the case, then you have to add in all these places this 3 value. If you notice, whenever there is an intersection, it will make a plus sign. And if that plus sign is made, you have to add the smallest uncovered element to that plus sign situation. Okay? So 8 plus 3 is 11 in the third row. 5 plus 3 is 8 in the third row, second column. 0 plus 3 is 3 in the fourth row, fourth column, third row. Okay? Done. After this, the other element should remain same. All other elements which are there, which have one line crossed to them. These are the only elements left now. Now these elements should be written exactly as it is, no need to change anything. So 5, 0, 0, 3, 0, 6, 6, 5, 0, 10, 0, 2, 0 and 0. Okay? So I have completed the full table. How to make this improved matrix? Let's revise it. First, check all the uncovered elements. Out of these uncovered elements, find out the lowest value, which is 3. Reduce it from all the uncovered elements. So from all these uncovered elements, we'll reduce 3 and write it in our improved matrix. Then wherever there is an intersection of 2 lines, at this intersection points, add your smallest uncovered elements, and other elements which have one line crossing them, those elements should be written as it is, no need to change anything in it. And that is how we make this improved matrix. Now what to do after making this improved matrix? Let's see. Repeat step number 5 and 6 again and again until optimality is achieved. Now we have to move. We have followed this step number 6. Now we have to move step number 5 again. Now this step number 5, where we were doing row scanning and column scanning, we have to do that row scanning and column scanning again in this improved matrix. Okay? So let me just make it smaller. Now in this improved matrix, we are going to do our row and column scanning. how to do this row and column scanning? You already know that. First you will start with row scanning, है ना? Scan the first row. If you found out 1 0, then mark it with square and cut the column. Whenever you are scanning row, you have to cut column. Then here we have 3 zeros. If more than 1 0 or no zeros are there, skip that particular row. Move to the next row. Here we have 2 zeros. Skip this row. Move to the next row. Here we have 1 0. Mark it with square and cut the column. Now after this, here we have 1 0. Mark it with square, and whenever you are doing row scanning, you have to cut the column. Now, after doing row scanning, check whether all zeros are covered or not. So we are left with 3 zeros, hence all zeros are not covered. If all zeros are not covered, you have to go with column scanning. Now the columns which have already been covered, no need to scan it again. Now you'll go to the third column. In this column, you have 1 0. Whenever you are doing column scanning, if you found 1 0, mark it with square and cut the row. Whenever we are doing column scanning, we have to cut the row. Now this column is done. Now we are left with one more column, and in this column also we are having 1 0 only because the other one is already cut. So now you are left only with 1 0. So mark it with square, and as you are doing column scanning, you have to cut the row. And done. If you notice, all the zeros are covered now. If all the zeros are covered, check for optimality. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows and 5 columns are available. Check the number of zeros with square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are also equal to 5. And if your number of zeros with square is exactly equal to number of rows or column, then though you reached optimality. Write it down. Number of rows or columns is exactly equal to number of zeros with square. Hence, optimality achieved. Optimality is achieved. Whenever optimality is achieved, you don't have to left the answer here itself. You have to complete it. So we were having machines and operators. So machines, operators. Machines are A, B, C, D, E. An operator allotted to machine A is wherever we have 0 with square, that is where allotment or assignment has been made. So A machine is assigned to operator 2. B machine is assigned to operator 5. C is assigned to operator 3. D is assigned to operator 1. And E is assigned to operator 4. Okay? Next. After this, the question has given us cost. So we are going to write the cost accordingly. Second, fifth, third, first, fourth. Second, fifth, third, first, and fourth. 5, 6, 2, 5, 4. 5, 6, 2, 5, 4 is the cost given to us. If I take total of it, 5 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 plus 4, that is equal to 22 is the minimum cost here. Okay? Done. This is how you have to solve when there is improvement given in the question. Up to improvement we understood, Hana? Now we are going to solve one more question so that we can practice this improvement and then we'll move forward. Now let's move forward to the next question, that is question number 5. In a textile sales emporium of Sontex Limited, 4 salesmen A, B, C and D are available to 4 counters W, X, Y, Z. Each salesman can handle any counter. The services in hours. If hours are given in our question, that means we have to minimize. Whenever time is there, we have to minimize. Of each counter when manned by each salesman is given below. So we have counters and we have salesmen and the number of hours of each counter. Their services in hours is given to us here. Okay? How should the salesman be allocated appropriate counters so as to minimize the service time? Each salesman must handle only one counter. Okay? So in assignment, तो we handle only one situation at a time. One job is given to one worker and one worker is assigned to one job. Now, keeping that in mind, first what we have to check, balanced or unbalanced. 4 rows, 4 columns. That means balanced. Second, you have to check whether it is a question of minimization or maximization. Minimization question, है ना? So let's move to step number 3 directly. That is row operation. I have to make another table because this will not work. Let's make it. W, X, Y, and Z. And salesman A and A, B, C, D. These are our salesmen. And here we have counters. Now, let's write the numbers 41, 72, 39, 52, 22, 29, 49, 65, 27, 39, 60, 51, 45, 50, 48, 52. Okay? Now, after this, we have to take the minimum value from each row. So, here we have 39, next 22, next 27, 45. Okay? Now, let's make a new table. And here we are going to do column operation. But before writing column operation, let's first write the numbers which we are getting here. 41 minus 39 is 2. Next, 72 minus 39 is 33. 39 minus 39 is 0. 52 minus 39 is 13. 22 minus 22 is 0. 29 minus 22 is 7. 49 minus 22 is 27. Next, 65 minus 22 is 43. Now, 27 minus 27 is 0. 39 minus 27 is 12. 60 minus 27 is 33. 51 minus 27 is 24. Now, 45 minus 45 is 0. Next, 50 minus 45 is 5. 48 minus 45 is 3. 52 minus 45 is 7. Now, after this we can follow column operation. So in column operation, we have to find out the least value in each column. Here so we have 0, then we have 5, then we have 0, then we have 7. So for the first column, the values will remain as it is. For the second column, 33 minus 5 is 28, 7 minus 5 is 2, 12 minus 5 is 7, 5 minus 5 is 0. Next, 0, 27, 33 and 3. Then 7 minus 13 is 6. 43 minus 7 is 36. 24 minus 7 is 17. 7 minus 7 is 0. Okay? Now, after doing your row and column operations, you have to do row and column scanning. In the first row, we have 1 0. Mark it with square and cut the column. In the second row also we have 1 0. Mark with square and cut the column. In the third row, we are not left with any zeros. In the fourth row, we have 2 zeros. So skip that row. All the rows are checked. Now we have to go for column scanning because zeros are there. So in this column, we are having 1 0. Mark it with square and cut the row. Now we have already covered all the 0. But optimality has not been achieved because the number of rows in column is 4, but the number of zeros with square is only 3. Now, the number of rows or column is not equal to number of zeros with square. Hence, optimality is not achieved. And if optimality is not achieved, then what to do? Make an improved matrix. Whenever you were not able to achieve optimality, you have to make a new matrix. For making this new matrix, what we do? We check the uncovered elements first. So these are the uncovered elements. Out of these uncovered elements, we have to take the smallest uncovered element, which is 2, and reduce it from all the uncovered elements. So 28 minus 2 is 26 in the second column. 2 minus 2 is 0. 7 minus 2 is 5. In the last column, 6 minus 2 is 4. 36 minus 2 is 34. 17 minus 2 is 15. Okay? After this, wherever there is an intersection of lines, these are the only 2 places where intersection is happening. In these places, add the lowest value, which was 2. So add this in all these 2 situations. 0 plus 2 is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. 2 and 5. Now every other element will remain as it is. 2, 0, 0, 0, 27, 33, 0 and 0. Done. This is our improved matrix. Now in this improved matrix, check whether optimality is achieved or not. For that you have to do row and column scanning. After making improved matrix, we do row and column scanning here. So in this row we have 1 0. Mark it with square, and as you are doing row scanning, cut the column. In this row we have 2 0. Skip. In this row we have 1 0. Mark it with square and cut the column. In this row we have 2 0. Skip that row. Now move to column scanning. As we are left with zeros, we have to do column scanning now. Here we are having 2 zeros. Skip that column. Here we have 1 0. Mark it with square and cut the row. As you were doing column scanning, we have to cut the row. Now comes the question that we are again left with 0. What to do? So if you notice, in this step it is already mentioned that all zeros should be covered with lines following row and column scanning. If not, row and column scanning again and again. Follow row and column scanning again and again to cover all zeros. Okay? Till the point your all zeros are not covered, you have to continuously do row scanning, then column scanning, then row scanning, then column scanning. So we were doing column scanning. After doing column scanning, as 0 is left, you will do row scanning now. So in this row, there is no 0. In this row, we are left with 1 0. So mark it with square and cut the column. Okay? If you notice, we have 4 number of rows and 4 number of columns plus 4 number of zeros with square. Hence, optimality is achieved. Write it down. Number of rows or columns is equal to number of zeros with square. Hence, optimality is achieved. And if you achieve the optimality, you have to write the final answer. So we have counter and salesman. Counter and salesman. Counter is W, X, Y and Z, and salesmen are A, B, C and D. So for W though we are assigning C, for X we are assigning B, for Y we are assigning A, and for Z we are assigning D. So C, B, A, D is what we have to take. C, B, A and D. So 39, 29, 27 and 52. 39, 29, 27 and 52. This is ours. Add all of them. 39 plus 29 plus 27 plus 52. That is equal to 147 hours is what have been taken here. And this is your minimum time. Okay, done. Now, if you have not written any part of this question, you can write it now. Now, up to improved metrics, you got an idea about what is happening. Hana? Now, let's move forward to the next question. And this question is also about your normal questions. If you notice, 5 mechanics are there, 5 repair jobs are there. That means balanced situation, plus you have to minimize. That means it is a normal question where it can happen that there are improvement. Hence, this is going to be your homework where you can actually practice improvements about how to do improvement in the question. Now, question number 6 was your homework. Question number 7 is also going to be your homework. This is also a normal case where 5 and 5 rows, 5 columns are there and you have to minimize the cost. Okay? So this question is also going to be your homework.